This is your before and after story. Prepare for an incredible career in nursing. At Southeastern College, experience expert hands-on training. Learn real-world skills in our professional lab and simulated settings. And train for opportunities as a practical nurse, registered nurse, or career advancement with our RN to BSN program. At Southeastern College, your future is bright. Visit sac.edu to get started.
Edit audio.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Hopkins, and this is Well Adjusting, where I talk to people about life stuff, but not in an NPR way. It's more like we're at the bar, having cocktails, getting into your business sort of way.
It's giving drunk NPR.
Oh, and producer Steph is here too.
Hello.
Today we chat, well, when you don't speak the language. Hello, everyone. I am excited to share today's episode with y'all. Okay, today we are talking to Dash. He's a transplant to a small town in Minnesota via Appalachia. So he has gone from a place where culturally people speak more directly to one another. And now he's living in a place where the language is much more passive, kind of Minnesota nice. And you add that to living in a time when trans people are increasingly targeted. And well, it's left Dash feeling exhausted and isolated. So let's see if we can get in there and help Dash figure out how to find his people and find some more joy in the day-to-day. But before we get into this chat, I want to remind you that if you're feeling the love for Well Adjusting, hey, don't be afraid to like and subscribe the podcast on Spotify or Apple or, wherever you get your pods. And if you're really feeling the love for, well, let's say producer Steph, not so much me, then throw a nice little comment in there too. Okay, now let's get to our pal Dash.
Hello, I'm Dash. You can refer to me with the pronouns he, him, and his. I am producer and co-host of Queer Next podcast, a show about coming up queer in Appalachia.
And what do you want to come pick apart with me and Steph today?
I am living outside of my comfort zone. I think my whole life has been just moving exponentially further away from that comfort zone, trying to infiltrate the middle class as just, poor white trash from Appalachia.
Oh my God, I'm white trash too. Welcome.
Yeah. And it gets real weird out here. And I now live in Minnesota, just moving further and further away. The appeal of Minnesota was healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Trans people can no longer get gender affirming care in the place I was living.
Yeah.
And so this was a lifeline. And I have friends here. And I find myself exhausted all the time from just the level of code switching that goes into being at work and communicating in this I don't know what you would call it. I'm not trying to be like disrespectful to Minnesotans, but there's a way that that they communicate that is not in my dialect, very like subtextual, I guess. You have to really be dialed in and paying close attention. And
yeah.
So that's new. It's cool. I think people are problems. It's fun to figure that kind of stuff out. I like language. My degrees are in language, but I'm just discovering now that it's like I'm tired all the time just from trying to talk to people.
Yeah. It's so interesting. So I mentioned earlier before we hit record that my wife she's from Ohio, but her family is from Appalachia, if that's how you say it, or Appalachia. I never had to say it. I'm from upstate New York where I just say salad. That's how my accent comes out. But she does not say anything directly. She'll ask me a question, and if she doesn't believe me, she will ask me the same question 5 more times, and I'll be like, I'm a really direct person. Like, did you just not understand what I was saying? I was like, do you not believe me? And it's and I've been with her for 20 some odd years, and I'm still like, is there ever going to come a point where you believe the words that are coming out of my mouth? And I think the answer is no, but it is exhausting.
I believe, anybody.
Love you, Mary.
Yeah. Anybody who's living somewhere that is not like that's what their native dialect is. We also spoke before we hit record about how America is just too damn big and there's too many different ways of communicating here. And that sounds like I'm coming at it from a negative perspective, but I'm not. Diversity is amazing, right? Everywhere should have their own culture and their way of doing things. But the person who goes into one that is not their context,
yeah,
is more tired.
Yeah, it's fish out of water.
And it goes further than that. It's experiential because so much of our communication is learned through our experiences. And so I don't know anybody here. I am never going to meet anybody here who has similar experiences to me. Growing up isolated in poverty, the cyclical, just traumas, the way that like, I can't solve problems here because the tools I would use don't exist. I bought this house and I'm looking for a pawn shop. They don't have those here because nobody's ever been desperate enough to pawn their TV for dinner. And so I'm like, you telling me I got to pay full price for a drill? I'm not going to do that.
You need Facebook Marketplace, but we'll come back to that later. But I want to ask you, can you give us like big picture how it shows up in your life, like beyond just exhaustion, which I get?
It's the interesting thing for me too, being here, is that there's a switch point. And so like I leave work and then I go outside that place and it is very like Trump country here. And so now I'm masking. I'm afraid they'll find out I'm transgender. So it's like switching between those two things all the time. It's accelerated to a level of burnout that's affecting, it goes into your personal relationships. It goes into the relationships. When I talk to my family, it's strained because I'm jealous that I can't even really enjoy the conversations I'm having with them as much because I wish I was having more of those than the ones I am. And these people here didn't do anything to me. This is all in my head.
Well, it's in your head, but it's also with reason.
Yeah.
Are you out at work?
Yeah, and my job is a part of the problem. Actually, I am one of those dreaded DEIers in higher education. So I work with queer, trans students, BIPOC students. I run support programs to try to help those students level the playing field a little bit, retain them better because they don't retain at the same numbers as, say, traditional college students or white students or cisgender heterosexual students. And so there's a lot now coming out that's causing me to have to speak out the side of my mouth all the time. And I was already running out of corners of my mouth to talk out of because it's all euphemism now. Can you say more about that? Like give an example of how that would show up? So they're clamping down on our language in higher education, administratively, like the Department of Education. Now they're even trying to stick the Department of Justice on us to cross those two streams, which it's so Orwellian, even thinking about. So we now, like, if I want to do an event that is for transgender students or something like that, and I have to print on the flyer, like, all students are welcome to come or welcome to attend, that's fine. But now it's getting to where they don't want us to say who the program is even for now, or who the resource is even for now. And the resources are starting to go away at a lot of universities. They're closing down centers. They're firing people. And that, in this state, they're not marching that quickly towards that here. But they are still really looking closely at us. You know, we happen to have a governor that this administration super doesn't like here in Minnesota. So they're looking real close at this university. Yeah, and everybody's afraid, you only have to look at Harvard, Columbia, that they're going to lose that money. I mean, it's like, I want all the colleges to band together and all the states, the Democratic states, to band together and just fight him. But it feels like that's not happening yet. Well, yeah, what I want is for allies to come and do some of this work because I'm tired. And people, sometimes they'll ask me or something, like I cut my own hair because I don't want a barber to ask me what I do for work. Just say you're an accountant. My old boss used to do that. He'd be like, I'm in accounting. And no one asked any more questions. It's amazing. That's right. Put that in your pocket, but keep going. It never occurred to me to lie. Oh, yeah. And by the way, that's not the kind of advice I'm giving, but I'm just going to say. Something else, growing up where I did, there wasn't resources and stuff for this. And so my whole life, I apparently have been hearing impaired and had ADHD and obsessive compulsive disorder and dyslexia. And so I'm just one of those lucky few high achieving, kind of partially cracked people that made it out of the place I'm from. And that does something to you too. And I just feel perpetually weird all the time. I feel like this just big old alien everywhere I go. What's interesting is, first of all, is partially cracked could have been the name of this podcast because you're in good company with Steph and I, who are also partially cracked. But okay, so that's how it's showing up in work and in life. Talk to me about because how recently have you been living there and how it shows up in friend groups or whatever, just so we can get the whole picture. I've been here a year now. So not that long. Mm-mm. Okay. Yeah. And it's like exactly halfway through that time was when this new administration came in. And so that just added pressure to things. And I think everyone is feeling very insular. They want to, stay in their places that are comfortable, and they're not interested in making new friends. And I think that I'm just really like dropping the ball on making connections here because I'm either exhausted or talking myself out of it, or other folks are truly not interested.
But there's a big assumption in there, like that other people don't want to get to know you. And I would challenge that.
Yeah, that's something I really am afraid of, is that what if I'm not being fair to people? What if what if people are asking me, and what if in their way, in their dialect, they're putting the invitation out there and I'm missing it because I'm too in my head, or I'm too, stressed out. Even where I'm from, I was a weird communicator because of my audio processing disorder and had a prolonged nonverbal period. Multiple doctors keep saying the word autism to me since I moved here. I'm about to start taking it personal.
Why are you going to take it personal?
I don't know.
What if it helps you understand you more?
I think it will. I think that's actually where we're headed. I'm probably going to wind up in a chair, and that's a great thing, right? Everybody should take advantage if they have the chair to sit in.
I do think that that's not a bad place to start, because it's like if you're looking at this like a ball of yarn and we're pulling it apart, there's a lot of knots. Right? It's like you've got like your past stuff, and then you have like now you're in some place where you don't feel like anybody's like you or how to talk to them. And I imagine that could feel very isolating, not just exhausting. Because I think exhaustion, much like my version of exhaustion, is mad. Like mad is a surface level. Exhaustion is a surface level. And I imagine underneath it is more. Well, maybe it's hurt. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's, like that there's something, if we were to, pull back the curtain a little bit, there's some more in there.
Yeah. Isolation is definitely like a layer. And I'm kind of just like holding out, pining for the kind of community I had, and probably missing out on, or maybe not giving a fair shake to what is around here. And something I have learned about the people I live in a very, very tiny town. When we say Minnesota, it is, y'all think you might know Minnesota. What I thought I knew about Minnesota, this ain't it. It is cornfields. It is rural, which I like. That's kind of my jam. I like green. There's a bunch of lakes. There's a lake right outside my window. It's beautiful, but it's a kind of rurality that is different than the one I'm used to.
Yeah.
It is very remote. There's not many people here. And so when I do interact with them or something like that, or I let my guard down, they find me strange, and I can tell that, but they're not being mean about it. They're just kind of like, well, I've never seen anything like you before.
Well, what's interesting is like today was my kid's first day of school, and my son was expressing that he was nervous. And my wife said to him, well, maybe they're nervous too. Like they're probably nervous too. And it's like, you find them strange a little bit. So it's the question of what you make it mean,
Yeah.
And I'm curious, like kind of circling around that of like, let's just say we took you out of Minnesota. We put you in what's the place where you're the most comfortable you've ever been in your life? You've been the most comfortable.
Well, I don't even know. It's been a long time since I have felt comfortable. Everywhere I live feels like this a little bit, because I've always felt this, the complexity of passing, right? Or of masking. Before I didn't even know that I was hearing impaired. I learned I was hearing impaired because of the pandemic. And I realized because everybody was wearing masks that I apparently had been reading their lips.
Wow.
So I was so good at compensatory strategies, and I was reading body language. And so I'm super literate in body language. And that's not literacy. That's actually hypervigilance. That's trauma. That's damage.
Yeah.
So like I'm walking around with all that all the time, and this is not Minnesota's fault, but here it's just a little extra isolated.
Yeah.
With prices going up on just about everything lately, dealing with money can be stressful. If you listen to Well Adjusting, you know life is full of surprises, like moving to a new apartment or trying to set better boundaries. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Their dashboard lays out your total financial picture in a way that's easy to digest, and you can even create custom budgets based on your past spending. Rocket Money's 5 million members have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, with members saving up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/budget today. That's rocketmoney.com/budget. rocketmoney.com/budget.
Are you scared or anxious about the state of bodily autonomy? Do you want to get involved in the fight? I'm Jenny Wetter, and I host the podcast Repros Fight Back. Each episode, I interview a guest about a specific topic across a wide range of issues, from abortion access to birth control to LGBTQ rights to abortion to gender-based violence to Project 2025. And did I mention abortion? We talk about what is happening around that topic and how you can get involved and fight back. If that sounds like your jam, make sure to check out Repros Fight Back on your favorite podcast platform.
Basketball game? Crushed it. And the day's just getting started. Now, kicking it with my crew. When I need a quick snack, Go-Go Squeeze Active Fruit Blend with electrolytes pouches are always in the starting lineup. Made with real fruit and select electrolytes. And so tasty. From workouts to hangouts to whatever's next, I go with Go-Go Squeeze Active. Snag yours on your next store run. Available on Amazon.
Okay, so if we do like if A is true, then B, what is that? A plus B equals C. Therefore, then, like if we look at it like a math problem, right? And there hasn't been a place where you felt particularly comfortable and you've only been here a year, like that could be adding part of the extra slice, is that like it takes a minute to get comfortable in any place, even when you're a real connected type of person. Mm-hmm. So I just want to put that in there for you to kind of like ruminate on. But I want to ask you, like, what I was getting at with the question of like, where have you felt most comfortable is in those moments. Like, so maybe it's not the most comfortable, just a time when you felt comfortable. Like, what were the things that were present for you to feel comfortable?
It is going to be context where people speak the same dialect as me. So back home in the Appalachian region, I think that it's only because I feel more certain that I understand everything that's being said there. I feel like the likelihood for misunderstandings is lower, even though those people could be just as mean, if not meaner to me than anybody else.
Yeah. It's just you at least knew they were being mean.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's dialect. So
Wait, was that the beginning of the list? Was there more? Because it sounded like you were going to say other things.
Oh, yeah. This is a weird one, but just stick with me. Hills. There have to be hills. I feel like, okay, try to imagine what a tiny mammal on a plane or the prairie or something feels like with a big bird of prey circling overhead. That's what I feel like when there's no hills. I'm like, there's a hawk above me or something.
Component.
Yeah. So apparently for me, safety is there is some topography around. I also navigate that way. I can't find anything if there's no hills. Apparently that's how I get around.
So that's a physical thing, a communication thing. Is there anything about the people, like friends or anything like that makes you feel comfortable?
Yeah, I do miss the kind of friendships where you can just show up at somebody's house. That's very frowned on here. You make a play date, and I can have fun that way, but it's not like it to me. There's something really wonderful about having the kind of friend or friendships that will show up at your door, or you can show up at their door. And you can say like, no, fuck off right now. You know, thanks for coming by, but I'm busy or I'm doing this or that. And they'll just go on down to the next door or something. That's the front porch culture that I'm used to.
Yeah.
And that makes it so that everybody's very accessible. Community is very accessible. It's at your fingertips all the time. And the scheduling component of it is a little bit for me to get my head around.
I'm glad you said the word community, because it does feel like a lot of this. I mean, there's two different things here if you talk about like the code switching, whatever, but community solves a lot of these issues. And that's where I say the patience portion of 1 year, it does take a minute to build a community, but are you actively trying to build a community That's real and in person.
It's all virtual because there's no businesses. People don't actually hang out here. So there's not like a coffee shop or there's a gas station. And there's not like the person whose house everybody hangs out at because again, they kind of schedule all that out. So you can get those moments in increments. But there's the stuff I would normally do to meet people doesn't exist here. So I'm a martial artist. They don't do that here. There's not a coffee shop. I'm a big coffee drinker.
How far are you to a bigger town? Like, how close are you?
Fargo is about an hour and a half from here.
That's a haul.
Yeah. There's another town they're all an hour and a half pretty much. One is like an hour and 15.
Okay.
That's what you do. That's the grocery run.
There's an hour and 15 minutes for groceries.
Mm-hmm. Like there's a little store down the road here next to me that has like you can buy a $9 gallon of milk if you want to.
I'm hesitant to say this, and I want to hear what Steph thinks about this as a question. Because I do think that there's a component of like, this isn't the first time you felt this way. So it's like, I don't want to just be like, well, fucking move, but I am curious of like, do you feel at home there? Like, is this, you bought a house, but do you feel at home there? Is there a question? Are you considering like maybe this small of a town is not right?
Yeah, that's a thought. I'm not a big city person though, so I'm not.
Well, there's a middle of the road between $9 milk and an hour and a half grocery run.
I feel like if I could find a thing to do, like the thing that like I can go to do, like the gym or a club or something like that. I'm antisocial. I'm not like missing being in traffic and stuff. I like the quiet. I bought this like ancient goblin house. I love it. So, I mean, it feels cursed and haunted in like a really amazing way. It reminds me of home. So like there's all kinds of things to love here. There's just that piece that's missing is getting to talk and be with people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the question. I was like, before we start solving, because like Robin and I have the same toxic trait, which is like
we really do.
We really want to like solve the thing, and like I am such a doer. Like I will Google and like find the community, or whatever it is. But before we started like trying to solve the thing, I wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page about like what the crux of the thing is that you're missing. And then you just said it, which is like, all of these like, code switching and dialect changing and, the topography changing and whatever is like you're missing the like closeness of people.
Yeah. I'm missing the thing that all of that holds, which is normally people.
And like, do you have any of those relationships now? Or are you only getting those in work or?
And what about the people from before?
They're in another town. They live in the town that the university is in. I couldn't afford you can't live here if you're a single person. People who are partnered can afford housing, but the economy's too bad here. So I had to get a place out of town. And I knew that it was a hazard of, getting to keep a closeness with them. But we do like, we make play dates, to use a joke from earlier. Like, I will make time for them. They'll make time for me, and they're really excellent people. We're going to hang out this weekend, but so far they're the only friends, and I came here having with those friends already.
How did you know them already?
We used to work at another university together.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they outlawed DEI in Kentucky. So they posted a job here, and they started trying to get me to come up and talk to them about it. And so that's how I wound up here. And then things got so bad that it actually started to affect Minnesota, of all places. I mean, that's how crazy all of this is that the states we all thought were immune are also like, I'm just not sure what's going to happen to the industry I work in either.
Well, I'm going to stand on this is not forever. And it's funny because we're talking about politics a little bit, but like we had this woman on Tanya Israel, who's like amazing. And she's just this expert about like how to reach across the aisle, how to talk to people, and how to, and one of the things that she always talks about politics, and I really feel like it relates here, is she's just like, focus on the small things. What are the things you could control? What are the things? And she always says that the smaller things, or the local government, is where you can be most effective, where you can make the most change. So I'm curious, what would be the small things that like would be your local work that you could work on that might be most impactful?
I think I've kind of not solved, but I knew that one thing I was just kind of jonesing for, talking to people with similar backgrounds as me, you know? And so that's kind of why I created Queer Next, because I was like, maybe there's a TV show I can watch. Nope. If Appalachia's on TV, it's because they're on drugs or on cops. It is true. Not like, there's not positive representation of us. And if there is, it certainly isn't queer. So we just went ahead and made a show, and that is filling up that cup a little bit. It's helping me, like, it's sort of giving me a little bit of equilibrium back, or just some perspective. But the temptation to simply dive into that and live only there, that needs to be resisted.
I do feel one of the local level things that would be to work on, and you said it yourself, would be to get on a couch, like, you know, to find your seat, to find your person, because I do think that, like, there are so many twisted things, and unpacking it on a regular basis and having that safe space, because you talk so much about communication, and what does anybody want? They want to be heard, and they want to be understood. And to have one person who would hear you and understand you and be consistent with honest and open communication, I think would be a local level thing that would work on a large scale.
Yeah, I did try. So isn't like therapists or anything here, but you know, the internet exists.
Yeah.
So I talk to my therapy bro pretty regularly, and it's clear, I think now it's reached a point where I've ignored enough levels of stress that an intervention is warranted, I think.
Yeah.
In my stress levels. Yeah,
because you're just going to be adding on top of it. It's like each and every one of these things, like something as simple as not being heard or seen or being able to talk to people is just like, I spent 2 months in Costa Rica in my 30s when I was like, I need to figure myself out. And I was so lonely because I couldn't speak the language. Like, I have this whole like running joke about how like I was trying to watch the like 3 American like television shows, but all the commercials were in Spanish. So it was always like, a continuación, Cybele. And I was just like, oh. I was like, I just want to hear what I'm comfortable with after a period of time.
I recently, actually, I think it was this week, I binged all of Dope Sick. Have you seen that?
I started it, and then at some point I was like, I'm so sad, and I had to pause.
Watch,
it was really hard.
It was so like authentic to, like, they filmed it in West Virginia, and I was like, there's home. Home's on the TV there. I've got to suffer through this. Because I lived through the opioid epidemic as well.
Yeah.
So I'm like, everywhere I need to go to find representation of me is also traumatized.
But you gotta offload some of the, I mean, I've been really working on stopping saying you gotta, but I'm saying you gotta. Like, you gotta offload some of this trauma, and you gotta hand it to someone else that you pay them to offload, like, so, and then they'll go to their therapist and hand your trauma to them. We just keep all handing it around, but you need a place to, you know, because I don't know how you can, like, if you're coming in with this suit on you of trauma and sadness and assumptions and fears, like, how do you get close to people if you're wearing a giant suit?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think when, like, I don't know, when I hear offload, I hear like, oh, that's great. I'm going to like put it over there and it'll go away, which, as someone who loves to put things over there and then ignore them, sounds great. But I think there's so many like webs that we're going through that I'm sure feel even more related to you than they do to us. And even to us, they feel all related and like compounded. And being able to have like a space where you can like talk about 1 or 2 or 3 things just like separates them a bit.
Yeah.
And like makes the like threads between them be like, oh, okay, that's a thread between them. And like, maybe that thing isn't so big. Maybe this is the big thing. And like, that's just like kind of bringing it up again. And like, I don't know, it creates a little bit of distance for you so that like every like I don't know, person being passive aggressive doesn't feel like the weight of like the big thing, you know?
Yeah, it's so like undignified how like easy it is to hurt my feelings right now. And I'm like, what is going on with me that somebody can, yeah, they're trying to hurt my feelings, but why is it working? I'm 44 years old. This ought not to be working, but it is because everything is scratched so thin.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's also like when I don't know, I always call it my shit barometer. Like when your shit barometer is so high and you've tolerated so much, your like ability to tolerate more shit is like super high. And so like in a way, you know, it's not your fault that like you got to like being so like thin and fragile before you're like, oh, I should do something. It's what you're used to doing because you had to do it. But like maybe you've created your own home now that you don't have to be that person in, you know, like there isn't maybe an immediate threat. I mean, I say that, but the government is a threat. So, but you know what I mean, on a local level.
Well, it's like if you're already at an 8, like I think about this with my kids, like if I'm walking in the room at an 8 out of 10, all they've got to do is drop a sneaker and I'm like, here we go again. And then I'm flipping tables.
Oh no, that makes me feel so bad about how mad I got at my cats.
Oh,
like,
I thought you were going to say how bad you feel for my kids. And I was like, yeah, that's not wrong.
No, I don't know your life, but
no, they're good kids.
Yeah, that totally like resonates though, because I'm like, why am I so angry that this totally normal thing has happened? Cats do this kind of thing and I'm flying off the handle.
I haven't made an Artist Way reference in at least a season, but I'm coming back with it. The book, The Artist Way, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a 12-week workbook. And the idea is that everyone is an artist in their heart, but it's this really amazing, it's like to yourself workbook. One of the things that they have you do through the whole 12 weeks is every day you do this morning pages, and it's like you're writing. You don't pick up your pencil and you're not, it's just stream of consciousness. And the idea is like, blurt it out, get it out. And then once a week, you have to do an artist date with yourself. And the idea is to put things in. And I have such a vision of you, like just holding it all, like the trauma, the fears, the everything. It's like, you're just like, it's like like Dolly Parton's coat of many colors. Like you're holding it all. But I would love to see you blurt some of it out and then bring some in. So maybe some of the blurting is with a therapist. Maybe some is journaling. Maybe some is dancing naked. Like, I don't want to make you do anything, but like whatever you want to do. Like, and then maybe some of the coming in is some more play dates with those friends that you have made connections with. Maybe it is something through the school. Like maybe you're starting a club. Like, I don't like a little more in, not too much, because you did say you're an introvert, but just a little something, which is why a once a week date with yourself might be interesting. Like you drive an hour or you go find a hill or you go to it's a walk around the lake or you're painting. I don't know.
I think like I often try to challenge myself to just take a trip over to Fargo or something and go to a gay bar or a drag show or something. I really miss Appalachia's queer as hell. And so I miss being able to just walk out and go to a gay bar. And I didn't expect to miss that much because I didn't think that was, it's like you really don't, you take that for granted, I think sometimes, like folks who have access to that. But then I just get in my head about leaving the house. I promise I'm getting help. I actually was just admitted earlier to a program that is it's an intensive. It's gonna help me, like do a lot of the things that you were just talking about.
Oh, good.
And, so some people I love and care about me have been sort of giving me resources and saying like, this is a real option. And so I did that earlier today.
Oh, good for you. That's amazing.
Yeah. I didn't think I would. I thought I was going to drag my feet on it. There's a whole lot of shame and I'm like sweating now that I've admitted that I'm getting that kind of help. But I mean, like I'm saying, man, people who grew up in rural poverty are not okay. Like the stuff that we do to ourselves, that generational trauma in your head about even asking for or accepting help, it gets so concretized and then you just sink in it.
However, you more than ever, based on your history and based on what you just said, knows that shame only hurts when it's in the dark. And like, I know you're sweating, but I'd be willing to bet tomorrow you're going to feel a little lighter. Now, sure, is there going to be the panic before you start this program? Hell yes. But you're going to have that experience of being like, oh, my shoulders feel a little better. I feel a little, because like every time we say it out loud, every time we address it, every time we talk to somebody about it, there's a little more of it gets chipped away and floats out like like an ice cap that we don't actually want to lose.
Yeah.
My metaphors are just horrific today.
When I first started going to therapy, I would throw up after every session.
Okay.
Aw.
That's intense.
And I didn't really like know, I mean, maybe not every session, but most of them. And I was like, hated it and whatever. And so I started, after I went to therapy, I would take the afternoon off. So I would go like 3 p.m. or whatever and take off the rest. And I would go to like a matinee or early movie after therapy. And after the first movie, if I wasn't like regulated in my body, I would go to another movie.
I love that.
And that was like my way of just being like, okay. And then after a while, I was like inviting friends to the movies and like doing whatever. But I guess, I don't know, just try to do something nice for yourself. And with time, it will get better, because I think it is hard.
Yeah, I know. I could do that. I could take a day trip and go to a movie theater. It's, definitely something that I would enjoy.
I would love to see, like, Steph is big on lists. Beyond me wanting you to get the Artist Way book, beyond that, and because I really do 12-week workbook, I really do want you to get it.
I wrote it down.
I'm gonna probably send it to you. You would think I'm getting like a code, like I'm getting
this is not sponsored content.
Like how I am not getting a kickback from the Artist Way is a travesty.
You should.
Like I'm the worst business person in the history of man. But beyond that, you're obviously very smart. You're obviously very emotionally intuitive and aware. Whether it's trauma-based or not, it's there. But I'd love to, it's of maybe of many of the negative things. Wouldn't it be great to maybe make a list of all the things that bring you joy and all the activities that you like to do with people, by yourself, and just when in doubt, when in a moment, let's put it on the fridge. Maybe there's a bowl and you cut them all up and you put it in it and then you take it out and that's what you do on your Saturday. Like just bring an element of playfulness to this and joy to it, because there is so much hard. Mm-hmm. And I think it's hard sometimes. It's like when you're sad or lonely, it's that first step that's hard. So like, let's put some things in there that challenge you, some things that aren't challenging you, that are just fun. Just go to a gay bar. Or, call Ethel. I haven't talked to Ethel in a while. I don't know why her name is Ethel, but like, since we're really worse
98
today,
years old.
I don't know what's happening to me, Steph. I don't know what's happening to me. But like, I love the idea of a bowl and you just pick one out. And then when it's empty, you either add more or you put them all back. Like,
yeah.
And put 50 in there. Challenge yourself and find a little of the playful dash.
Yeah.
He's in there.
I love that. Can I yes and that?
Yes, you can.
I love a list. I love adding joy. I love all of that. I'm going to say this whole conversation, I keep thinking I have my friend James. He's a great friend of mine. Oh my God.
Yes. Notes.
Gosh, we love
Dash
the
is taking notes.
I've been thinking about my friend James, and he's very introverted, and I would always be like, let's hang out, blah, blah, blah. And then he'd often, bail last minute or whatever. Something would come up, or I travel a lot and whatever. So months and months go by, and I read this article that I'm going to send to you, and it was like a bro-y article, but this guy basically had a standing date with his friend, this one friend of his, and it was like every 2 weeks they went to the diner together. It was the same diner, and that was their standing hang, and they never, they did it for 5 years. And I was like, we should have a standing hang. And so we literally put it in our calendar. And I love it because it's okay, every 2 Saturdays or whatever it is, we have this commitment that we're going to do something, and the something changes, but it's we know we're going to do that. Obviously, if someone's traveling for work or whatever, we have to change it. But maybe there's some sort of standing hang in your life that you can either do with yourself or with those pals that live in the adjacent town, so that it's it's something to look forward to, but it's also something that doesn't create pressure of planning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes I will talk myself out of something if I'm okay, I have to come up with I want to see this person, but I just want to sit on the couch. So it just allows the space for that.
Yeah, I get analysis paralysis real bad.
Yeah.
Be sitting on the couch going like, okay, I know I said I was going to do this, but here's all the steps. And this, I understand I have ADHD. This is called executive dysfunction. But yeah, I just really get sucked into that. You know, my buddy that lives up here, he used to work at the university, but he no longer does. And so I put something on his calendar every week, same day. We would go for a walk. And I called it a twalk, right? We would walk and talk.
Cute.
And so I have noticed that like this feels worse ever since I can't do that with him anymore because he doesn't work at the university anymore. And I really miss him. So like I think hanging out this weekend is gonna feel good. And I'll talk about it. I'm like, I think I'll bring it up with him. Like I really want to stay present with people. People are very important to me, and I think that like I know that they are experiencing the same sort of weird communication thing that I am. I know that goes both ways, and it could be that they often don't know what I'm thinking or where I'm at. But hopefully people at least know that I always enjoy being with them.
What if you tell them?
Yeah. I think no one dislikes hearing that they're great to be around.
I do love that.
That's
the
true.
more that you can be like, hey, I've missed not hanging out with you, or like, hey, I really loved our talks. Like maybe we can. I sound like I'm from Boston when I say it. I don't sound cute like you do. But like maybe you can incorporate that. You know, it doesn't have to be every day, but it could be like every 2 weeks or something, just to, again, it's like no pressure and it's in the calendar.
When I wonder too with like the ADHD or whatever, like, or the paralysis, like you always have to get groceries. So what if you yes-and your own life? If you get groceries, then you got to do something else first. If you're going to get groceries, there's got to be other stuff around. So first I will go to a bar and say hi to a few people, or I'll do a walk with someone, and then I'll get groceries and come back. Like there's a lot of ways to make rules for yourself so that you don't have to choose. You don't have to be like, am I up for this?
And also just knowing that let's assume that these folks who keep saying autism at me are onto something. I'm probably missing all kinds of cues because even autistic or not, I consistently do that. I miss all kinds of the subtextual things people are trying to tell me.
Yeah.
And so I'm now like evaluating, like somebody sent me a message and said, hey, the store has this on sale now. And I just went like, okay, thanks for telling me. Was that Minnesotan for, do you want to go to the store with me?
Yes. Yes.
It might have been.
Yeah. Thanks for telling me.
I was like, cool.
I also feel like, you're talking about code switching in a lot of different ways. In some ways, you code switch because it's safe and it's important and it's necessary. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think there's a safety issue with you just being direct with people. It may not be how they talk, but you could go back to that person and be like, hey, did I miss a cue? Did you want to go shopping? I'm still trying to learn how people talk. Like, I think you could bring you to where you are, and people might just find it as a breath of fresh air. I'm a loudmouth, like, and I'm always like, well, if they don't like it, those are probably not my friends.
That's true. I think I'm like, as we were saying, like this has all been kind of escalating and creeping up on me. I even just a year ago when I first got here, I understood that I was different than everybody else, but I'm not the first person to move here from somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, these folks have seen other strange people, and it'll be fine. And it has slowly, I think, just through the political climate and just how unsafe everything else feels, I'm beginning to become suspicious of even things that should not feel suspicious.
Yeah.
And there's just a low level hypervigilance at all times.
I think that's hard, again, with like, I don't know the specifics of your upbringing, but if you like train yourself to be hypervigilant, it's really hard to turn that off. And it's really, really hard to turn it off when you feel afraid.
Unsettled too.
So like, I think, something to be mindful of is just like, this sounds so, I've said this before on a podcast episode, I'm going to say it again. Create your little home inside yourself, and like whatever makes you feel calm, safe, whatever, like keep that so close to you, identify what it is, come back to it. Cause like it is scary right now. That's super real. You're going to be hypervigilant because you've been through a lot. But like, that doesn't mean that you're in that place now. That just means you have those coping mechanisms and like you are safe, and you can find ways to remind yourself of that so that you can show up with like other people and show up as yourself.
Yeah. And bad as I am at taking care of myself in some ways, like I always have been, I was the oldest. And so I try to, I think, give myself roles that I don't actually have in adult relationships, because I'm some like twisted and broken shell of a former oldest child.
There's definitely a perception, because it's like you've said multiple times, you know, you're weird. I think you're a lovely conversationalist, and I don't think you're weird at all. So it's, I just maybe challenge your perceptions of yourself a little bit. Maybe say it nicer to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I want some sticky notes. So this is my last bit of homework. And I wanted some sticky notes around the house that are like maybe some core statements about yourself. Like, you know, I am loved. I am lovable. I can communicate. I am warm.
I am safe. I am kind. I am loving. I am loved.
See, they don't talk about this where I'm from, but this sounds nice.
Yeah. So we're gonna make a bowl with some shit in it with the two. You're gonna have some sticky notes where maybe we're gonna get the artist's way. We're gonna get on a couch. We got some good shit for you to do. And this will all be like 2 years worth of work.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to report back to us.
Yeah, we'll
Dash.
see you in 2 years.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Maybe a 6-month update. But and I want to say thank you so much for like just allowing us to have this conversation with you and for sharing all this with us. Because, you know, I think it makes other people feel less alone. Like everyone feels alone in some ways. And I don't want to forget that, because it's not easy. It is not easy out here. But you got me and Steph.
Yeah.
So
I also
we're here.
think, like, as someone who's like, you know, wants to vomit every time I feel vulnerable, like, thanks for doing this exercise with us. It's a very vulnerable conversation, and I like super appreciate it. I hope you feel like held and supported in some way, but I just really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all taking the time to talk.
What a fabulous chat that was, Steph. Yes?
Yes, absolutely. Fantabulous.
Well, I do want to say, I mean, I'm prone to this, but while we were talking to Dash, I had an idea. Are you open?
Yeah, hit me. What's the idea?
Well,
I'm a little scared.
I know. It's like I'm always like, Steph, I've got an idea. And she's like, oh, Jesus. All right. So, like, I think we're pretty open about we don't actually have any real life credentials. We're just like leading with our life experience. And we're also pretty honest about how we're always working on things.
Always.
But, you know, I think if I'm going to throw us both under the bus a little bit here, the behind the scenes is that folks don't know that, you know, we forget to do our homework. We assign ourselves. Sometimes we like really fall apart when we're stressed and we're like, I'm just not doing it. And then, you know, and sometimes we fail to feel better just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, what if we pick one homework for us? Okay. Something that we're particularly shitty at, and we try to live by it for 2 weeks. And I want to say first full credit to where I got this idea. It's from, did you ever listen to the podcast By the Book?
Yes. I
love that podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a comedian and then a producer lady, and together they take one self-help book and then they live by it for 2 weeks, and then they kind of like report back. And I was like, Steph and I should do that.
I'm scared, but yeah, I'm down. Do we do the same homework, or we each have our homework?
I think we should do the same one. So that way we're
fine.
like kind of talking the same language. Because otherwise, like, I'm learning French and you're doing Spanish.
Okay, I'm in.
I mean, you already know French, so that would
I do need to learn Spanish, though.
And of course, we have to kind of report back. I mean, no one asked us to, but I think the only way we're ever accountable is if we know that we put a deadline on air, which is kind of why I'm springing this on you right now.
It feels pointed.
You're like, wait, what?
Like,
Can't
what
we just
am
say
I
goodbye?
Yeah.
So, okay. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't already have a first suggestion.
What is it?
I was thinking, okay, so I'm in physical therapy right now because I got like my back is like shattering as I sit here.
Yes.
But I know it's like I really struggle with consistency of like doing little healthy habits over like I'll meditate for 5 minutes and then I'll fall off. And by 5 minutes, I mean like I might be able to pull together 2 weeks and then I fall off. And like I'll do really good when I'm in PT, but when the guardrails come off, then like left to my own devices, I tend to wander off and then I'm eating ice cream on the couch. So I was thinking like, what if we each pick, I don't know, is one too little? Is two too many? Like a habit we've been trying to work on, something that we do daily. What do you think?
What's your habit that you're trying to do daily? I feel like we should start small and do like one.
Well, the one is when the days I'm not in PT, I need to do my stretches.
Okay.
But the other one, and I think, I need to be wearing like a retainer at night because I'm waking up and grinding my teeth. But like, I don't always want to, this is where I think I sound like a shitty human being or like I'm like a dirty gross girl. Like I don't always want to get up and do the mouthwash and the teeth brush before I throw the retainer in. And I'm afraid my teeth are going to fall out. So I need to make myself, because like once I'm in bed, it's like inertia. It's tough to get up.
Yeah.
So I need to make myself do that. Those are my two.
Okay. I think I'll follow suit. I want to do some sort of guided movement every day. So that can be stretching or exercising or both.
Okay.
And I don't floss. And one of my friends recently yelled at me for it. And my partner just started flossing. And I'm like, oh my God. And I fully recognize I'm saying that. And I'm just picturing like the weird, stupid dance moves. And I mean my teeth. So I would like to start flossing my teeth.
It would be really amazing if you wanted to floss the dance move daily.
Every day, yeah.
Like, I mean, and like if you were just
that.
like, it's good for hip rotation, for flexibility. Can you do that while you're flossing your teeth?
No, I couldn't. I don't have that many hands, but I could do it as my movement for the day.
Oh my God. I'm going to need video. All right. So we should do some either audio or video diaries.
I mean, I feel like we have to be accountability buddies, right? So are we messaging throughout the process? Because otherwise I'm not going to do it.
I know. Left to our own devices, we will tell people to do it and never do it. Yes. Yeah. No. Let's send like when we did the joy exercise, we'll send voice notes back and forth.
Do I start today?
Today. We're starting right now.
Okay. Well, I haven't moved today, so hold me accountable.
All right. As soon as maybe I should make you do it on camera.
In this shirt? Absolutely not. There'd be things falling out everywhere.
I feel like that's a really great note to close off the episode. Steph and Robin are getting well. Dash is amazing. And that is it for today, folks. We want to say thank you to Dash for sharing his story with us. I mean, that was such a vulnerable talk. And, Dash, don't forget Steph and I are your community. Oh, yes. and listen to his podcast, Queer Next, wherever you get your pods. For more Robin, and you may need that. You probably don't need it, but like if you do, you can follow me at Real Rob Hops on all the platforms, all the socials, as the kids today say. Well Adjusting is an Edit Audio original series. It's exec produced by Steph Colburn and Robin Hopkins. Our producer and editor is Maria Passingham, and our production manager is Kathleen Speckert. Thank you to the entire Edit Audio team and to you for listening. Oh, hey, before you take out those AirPods, this show is just for entertainment. If you are in need of help, please, please, please reach out to a professional. Go ahead and get that help. You deserve it.